Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. I hope you guys are still meal prepping. I hope you guys are still batch cooking for yourself and your family, because in these times of distress and these times of not knowing what the heck is going to happen next, I feel like it's still super important that we still take care of ourselves, still take care of our families, and just prep the meals ahead of time, because that is one less worry during the week when things can get chaotic and stress levels are so high right now. But let's see what's cooking up in my kitchen this week. All right, so this week we're gonna start out with boiling some eggs. I always boil eggs in my Instant Pot. I put in there 1 cup of water, put the lid on there, make sure it's on sealing, of course. And then I just press my egg button, and then I let those cook for 4 minutes, and they come out usually perfect almost every single time. I do put them in an ice bath after they are finished, and I do a quick release. I leave them in the ice bath for 5 minutes, and then 6 of those eggs I left for whoever wants them as a snack, and then 4 of those eggs I'm going to use in a different recipe. Next up, I'm going to be making some eggs with mushrooms and peppers. We're just going to cook those up in scrambled eggs. So the first thing I do after I cut everything up, I like to just take a pan, make sure it's nice and hot. I'm using some bacon grease that I saved from the last couple of times that I made bacon. And then I'm just going to saute all of those vegetables up in a pan. And those peppers are those little mini peppers, those mini sweet peppers. Those are delicious. So I went ahead and I added 7 eggs in there, and then I also went in with some sea salt as well as some pepper. Don't ever be afraid to season your food, y'all. It's what gives it the flavor. Then I just mixed all that up, and then I did go in there with some bacon crumbles. I get that from Costco. That's the Kirkland brand. And then I did add some cheddar jack cheese as well, and that is what it looked like after it was all finished, and it was all scrambled up together, and it is delicious and healthy, full of fats. You got your veggies, your proteins, delicious, healthy breakfast. Next up, we're going in with a brand new recipe. These are lemon blueberry scones, and that is all the ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe. So what you want to start out with is 2 cups of almond flour. And then you want to go in with 1/3 cup of confectioner's swerve, as well as a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just kind of put a little bit in my hand and dumped it in there. Then in a smaller bowl, I put 1/4 cup of butter, and I melted that in the microwave. And then I just zested 1 lemon, an entire lemon. I just took the zest from it, as well as 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 large egg, all in that small bowl, mixed it up together. And then I'm going to add that to our dry ingredients. And then we are just going to give that a nice stir. It's supposed to be firm, not too firm, but yet not really sticky either. Because then you're going to go in with your 2/3 cup of fresh blueberries. But the thing is with the blueberries is you want to fold them in, because we're going to try not to bust the blueberries and make a blueberry mess. Then your entire batter is going to be blue. Then you just want to shape your batter into, or your dough into a disc shape about 1 inch thick. And this makes 8 servings. So I just cut the disc of dough in half both ways, and then I cut those 1/4 pieces into half again, and there you have 8 servings for that. And let me tell you, they may not be exact if you weighed them all, but you know what? That's good enough for me. Then I like to separate the pieces, because when it bakes, you don't want the dough to bake together. So that is what they look like before they hit the oven. And I did preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and I baked mine for around 20 minutes, and they came out perfect. While they baked, though, I did prepare the glaze. It's a lemon glaze, so you want 1/4 cup of Swerve confectioners, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. I think I put in a little bit more than that, but I have no regrets. And 1 teaspoon of heavy whipping cream. You can do a little more if you prefer, but that's what it looked like. I even got some of the pulp in there from the lemon. Again, no regrets. It was so good. That is what the scones look like when they came out of the oven, and that is what they look like after I drizzled the lemon glaze on there. Oh my gosh, you guys, try this recipe. So delicious. My husband said it tasted like the Starbucks ones. I'm like, oh, well, that is a win-win right there then. Next, I'm going to be making my favorite lunch ever. So we're making tuna egg jalapeno salad. This is such a game changer to your boring tuna salad. So the first thing I did is I took 1 jalapeno. I cleaned it. I did take the seeds out of it and the veins. Don't get me wrong, I like hot, but yikes. So I just cut those up into little bite-sized pieces, and when I make my tuna salad, I like to make everything right there in the container that I'm going to use to put it in the fridge, less cleanup. So I also took 4 boiled eggs and used my egg dicer there, and I put those in there as well as 2 cans of tuna. And total game changer. I'm telling you guys, when you add jalapenos and eggs to your tuna salad, it is delicious. Give it a try. I do like to add mayonnaise as well as sour cream. When you add those two together, again, total game changer. I like to add mustard, a little bit of pepper, some salt, and that is a delicious, again, full of fat, full of protein lunch. Great to take to work with you. All right, so next up, we're going to be making some Mexican pulled pork. So the onions and all those peppers that you see there are all going in this bad boy. This is a pork loin tenderloin. I'm using 2 of those. I'm also going to put in there onion and garlic powder, salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, paprika, and chili powder. This is delicious and ridiculously easy to just throw in your crock pot. So I threw all of the pork in there, garlic, a little bit of salt, some pepper. We are going in with all those seasonings, garlic and onion powder. We're gonna go in with the paprika, the cayenne pepper, and chili powder. I do all of that to taste. I do add a little more chili powder than the rest of them because I love it. So we're going to start throwing in the onions, the green and red peppers. We're going in with the jalapenos, and it really doesn't even matter what peppers. You could put tomatillos in there, green chilies, whatever your taste buds like. That is what you can go in there with, because this is definitely a make it your own kind of meal. I'm going to put that on high, and I cooked that for probably 7 hours. And that is what it looked like when they were done. But what we were going to do is we're going to put all those peppers and onions and all that good stuff into the blender. We are going to blend all of that up, and it's going to become almost like a sauce. Once that is finished, we're going to pour it back into the pork, mix all of that pork up. We're going to shred that pork. And I'm telling you, we're going to let it cook for another maybe like hour or 2. Once it was done, I tasted it. It did need a little bit more salt. So I did add in a little more salt. And again, you just let it cook just a little bit longer. Let it absorb all those flavors. And that is so good. I can't even tell you how quick my family ate this. Everyone was in love. And then you can't have Mexican pulled pork without some Mexican cauliflower rice. So I'm going to put all those ingredients into this dish. And I'm going to start out with some avocado oil just in a skillet on the stovetop. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of cauliflower rice. This is only 1 bag of cauliflower rice. I probably should have made 2, but you know, it is what it is. It's easy to make, so not a big deal. So I went in with a little bit of chicken bone broth, as well as around a half a can of that tomato sauce, some salt, pepper. I like to put in there some garlic and onion powder, and then I also do go in there with some cumin. Add the cumin to taste. Some people aren't as big on cumin as others, so definitely just add all those ingredients to taste. And then just let it simmer up and let it cook up, and that is what it looks like. I'm telling you, honestly, this tastes just like Spanish rice in my personal opinion. And I've even had people try it and they're like, I didn't even realize that was cauliflower. No joke. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna make, that is 2 pounds of ground beef, and I'm just going to cook that up until obviously it is done. And we are gonna make some goulash minus the noodles, cheesy goulash minus the noodles. So the first thing I did is I went in with around 4 ounces of cream cheese. Probably could have cut it with a knife, but I used my hands and saved myself some dishes, as well as around 3/4 cup of Rayo's marinara sauce. And then I went in with a handful of cheese. And then, of course, you got to go in with seasoning. So I did add some garlic powder, some oregano, onion powder, pepper, and I did go in with some salt. Then we're just going to stir that around, let all the cheese melt. And that is what it looked like after it was finished. You could just take a little bit of broccoli or some cauliflower rice or something and put this over the top of that. Delicious, you guys. So, so good. My daughter loved this. Everybody loved this. Next up, we're going to cook some chicken thighs and some steak in the air fryer. So we're going to start out with the chicken thighs. Those are the Kirkland brand that I get at Costco. I did 2 packages. I like to start out with the skin side down, and then I just add some garlic salt to these, as well as a little bit of pepper. And then, like I said, we're just going to put them in the air fryer. And I started them out for 400 degrees for 10 minutes because these were slightly frozen still in the middle. That's why I did them a little bit longer this time. Then after they are done cooking, I like to flip them over, and I did put them in for another 10 minutes. That's how they turned out. Delicious. It almost tastes like fried chicken when you cook your chicken in the air fryer. The skin gets so crispy. Everybody loves them this way. This is the only way I cook them now. And then these New York steak strips, these are what was left over from my birthday. So I decided I was going to use them up and cook them in the air fryer as well. I like to put a little bit of avocado oil on the top of them, and then I just take a brush and brush that on top. And then I go in with the seasonings. So this time I ended up seasoning them with that mesquite seasoning. That is so good. However, if you're like really strict keto, then you may not want to use that because one of the ingredients is sugar, and I think there might be a couple other things in there as well that strict ketoers may not like. But I just cooked them on 400 degrees for around 8 minutes on one side, 4 minutes on the other side. That's how they turned out. We actually ended up eating those that night, but delicious. All right, last but not least is keto bread. This is no egg keto bread. I personally do not like eggy bread, so this is why I like this one. However, do keep in mind, I feel like this is such a hit and miss recipe. I've found people that love it, and I've found people that hate it. So that is my little disclaimer. I personally love this recipe. So it takes 300 grams of blanched almond flour. And I will leave the recipes in the description box below, so that way you guys can go down there and find the recipes for yourself. It also takes 60 grams of coconut flour, 40 grams of flax meal, and 40 grams of psyllium husk. So the psyllium husk and the flax meal I got on Amazon. I did go in with 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 7 grams of salt. And then I just went in with a spoon, mixed up all the dry ingredients. I have found that if you use a whisk, it mixes the dry ingredients up a little better. And then I went in with the wet ingredients. So it does take 2 tablespoons of olive oil, as well as 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And then I go in with 2 cups of lukewarm water, or 480 milligrams. And then I just stir it with a spoon. Once it's all incorporated, then I do go in with my hands and I knead the dough for around 1 minute to 2 minutes. And the biggest thing with this bread is once you form it into a loaf, let it set for 10 minutes before you bake it. So that is what I did. I let it set for the 10 minutes, and then I did preheat my oven to 400 degrees. And technically you're supposed to use a loaf pan. I did not have one. I ended up having to throw mine away, so I'm improvising here. And then it says to cook this for 50 minutes. In my oven, I cook it for an hour. that is what it looks like when it came out. And honestly, I probably should have cooked it a little bit longer. Probably should have been like an hour and 5 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes. Because usually when I cook that, I haven't cooked it in a while, but usually when I cook that, the middle doesn't sink like that. And then another key to this is you want to let this set for like 3 hours before you cut into it. Literally, if you follow all those rules, this bread is going to be delicious. But if you try to cut right into it as soon as it comes out of the oven, it's probably not going to turn out. It's going to be too wet and it's not going to be good. So that's what it looks like when it came out. Like I said, I probably should have cooked mine another 5 or 10 more minutes, but it's delicious either way, in my opinion. So like I said, the recipes that I do have links for, I will leave it in the description box below. You can find them down there. So just go down to the description box below this video and the links will be there. Within that link, you can find the recipes and all the measurements. All right, y'all, so that's the end of this week's meal prep video. If you guys like this type of video, please give it a huge thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. And then also, if you're not part of the Simply Misty family, go ahead and smash that subscribe button as well, because I would love to have you as part of my YouTube family. If you guys try any of these recipes, or even if you don't try any of these recipes, follow me on Instagram. I'll have my Instagram name in the description box below, and follow me there. And then tag me on Instagram. Let me know what you're meal prepping. Let me know if you made any of these recipes here. And let me know if you liked them, because I love to hear what you guys are cooking up. And I love to hear if you guys liked the recipes that I've tried on my channel. For now, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye. On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when